Hi again. So the other thing I had in the slides in there to remind me, it's just a little bit about the HTML MDN guides. Let me walk you through that for a second. So one of the main things that I need you to understand is that HTML, it's a programming language that allows you to structure how a page looks like, okay? So in that page, oh, I'm sharing the screen, so let's put that again in here and put that bigger. So here in the HTML MDN guide, you can find that information here. Like you have these main categories and elements that you can use for describing what you're going to be putting on your page. So there are some, like the core categories of these tags are going to be the main content tags, but there are also specific content tags and form related categories, okay? So if you go and see those ones in there, so we can read a little bit more of that. There are some of those that, for instance, contain information about the metadata. These used to be kind of like very optional, that contain information about what the page was about, but not so much on how it looked. But now with the boom of AI, they have become very important because machines actually rely on these for training their LLMs or even search engines and things like that. There are different contents, like elements like flow content, and then you're going to find like a myriad of different elements that you can see in there. Some of the classical ones, like for instance, for creating links, this one that it's used for creating images that look like pixels. We can talk more about that. Here is the form one that was discussed a little bit, mentioned before, like the classical ones, like just a simple div and things like that. So you can find all of those in there. And then there are other ones in there. These are going to be like the flow ones. And then we have the sectioning ones, like things like article, aside, nav, and section. And then the heading ones, which are going to be the H1 to H6. And then many others, like the phrasing content. So I really like the way they have it organized in here. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but make sure to take a look at each one of these elements and try to understand what it is mentioning in there. Okay, and let me know if you have any questions. So in the main content ones, the summary I have for that is that, again, as I was saying, like the metadata, you have information that describes the page. You have things in the, for instance, for the flow content, like for instance, a list, or for sectioning, or for heading, or for phrasing, like for instance, changing different elements. Although things like this became kind of obsolete because the whole idea of HTML is that it represents what the contents of the page are, not so much how those contents look like. And this is supposed to be like, for instance, for putting strong emphasis on something or having it in bold or italics and things like that. So that's some of those in there. And then also these ones are very important for putting, like embedding other content, like putting audio, embedding another page inside of another one, or recently like adding videos, which wasn't that common in the origins of HTML. You also have interactive content. I really love this because I work in information visualization. So using these type of things, I can make my pages interactive. So that actually becomes really cool. And then the different formed elements and things like that. Okay. So those are the main categories. Again, I am not going to go through each one of those because it might be a little bit overwhelming, and definitely you're going to find better, you're going to learn better by just doing. And if you want guides like that, please take a look at the required readings and just complete those materials and then come back to me on office hours. Okay.